the places where I was, just the factories were leaving, the jobs were leaving, people were being fired, and we can't have that. So we have negotiated this new agreement based on the principle of fairness and reciprocity. To me, it's the most important word in trade, because we've been treated so unfairly by so many nations all over the world, and we're changing that. We just signed a much better deal with South Korea. We had a horrible, horrible deal, and we just signed that at United Nations, and that's worked out well, and they're happy, we're happy. It's good for jobs, good for a lot of things. When that deal was signed, they said 250,000 jobs will be given by signing this transaction, and they were right. I've said it before, they were right. 250,000 jobs to South Korea, not to the United States. So that's changed, and very much for the better, and this one is a brand new deal. The agreement will govern nearly 1.2 trillion in trade, which makes it the biggest trade deal in the United States history. I want to congratulate U.S. Trade Representative Bob Lighthizer, who has worked. Nobody understands how hard he's worked. No matter when you called him, he was in the office, or he was in somebody else's office doing the same thing. Bob Lighthizer is great. I've heard it for years. I said, if I ever do this, I want to get Lighthizer to represent us, because he felt the way I did. And the entire team at the USTR, standing behind me, and some right here in the audience, I want to thank you all. Fantastic job. Peter, Carl, everybody. Thank you all. Thank you. Fantastic group of people. They love our country. I also want to thank Secretary Mnuchin, Secretary Ross, Secretary Nielsen, Secretary Perdue, Jared Kushner, Peter Navarro, and the United States Ambassador to Canada, Kelly Craft. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, thank you. I also want to thank President Peña Nieto of Mexico, who we had a few disagreements, but I really like him a lot. I think he may like me, I'm not sure. But I think he's a terrific person, and he'll be leaving soon, but he's really done a good job, and wonderful, wonderful person. And the Mexican president-elect, López Obrador, who has given his support to this agreement, and we're developing a really good relationship, which I think is very important for our country, frankly, and for Mexico. And so they worked together on this. This was done by both. I said, look, I don't want to sign an agreement, and then a new president comes in, they don't like it, and we have difficulty. They work very much together on it, and I appreciate it from both. I have to certainly give my highest regards to Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau. A lot of stories came out about Justin and I having difficulty together than we did over the trade deal. But I'll tell you, it's turned out to be a very, very good deal for both, and a very, very good deal for all three. It puts us in a position that we've never been in before. It's very good when you look at the world and what the world is doing, and when you look at the unfair trade practices that countries are using against the United States. This is a terrific deal for all of us. Once approved by Congress, this new deal will be the most modern, up-to-date, and balanced trade agreement in the history of our country, with the most advanced protections for workers ever developed. If you look at the reviews, people that would normally not, under any circumstances, say good things, because automatically they have to say bad. Even some Democrats say that's amazing. We had some, they haven't been given the sound bites yet, I guess, Mike. But actually, you had some Democrats say this is really amazing if he really got all of that. But by tomorrow, I would suspect they'll change their tune. But that's okay, because people know how good it is. It's an amazing deal for a lot of people. Likewise, it will be the most advanced trade deal in the world, with ambitious provisions on the digital economy, patents, very important, financial services, and other areas where the United States has a strong competitive advantage. Mexico and Canada have agreed to strong new labor protections, environmental protections, and new protections for intellectual property. So important. This New Deal is an especially great victory for our farmers. Our farmers have gone through a lot over the last 15 years. They've been taken advantage of by everybody. Prices have gone way down. And we're working on some other deals that are going to make them very happy also. But this is a very, very big deal for our farmers. Mexico and Canada will be opened up a lot more than they are now. And I think there'll be a better spirit between the three countries, which is important for our farmers. The agreement will give our farmers and ranchers far greater access to sell American-grown produce in Mexico and in Canada. The deal includes a substantial increase in our farmers' opportunities to export American wheat, poultry, eggs, and dairy, including milk, butter, cheese, yogurt, and ice cream, to name a few. I want to be very specific.
Trump fool, y'all.
Very specific, right? And many other products, but those products were not really being treated fairly as far as those that worked so hard to produce them. And now they're going to be treated fairly. These measures will support many hundreds of thousands of American jobs. This is
GMO
also
shit
a
is
historic
over
win
with.
for American
No more
manufacturers
genetically
and
engineered
American auto
shit.
workers who have been treated so badly. We've lost so many jobs over the years under NAFTA. Under the
Y'all gotta
current
understand what's going
New
on.
Deal,
Instead of saying
and
fuck
if you
Trump,
look at the
I
current
don't agree with him
NAFTA deal,
with everything he do, but when
the
it
New
comes to
Deal
certain
is
things, y'all just
taking
gotta
care of all of these
just be
problems
logic.
because NAFTA,
You gotta be logic
companies have
about
been allowed
shit.
to manufacture many of their parts
You know?
overseas, ship them to Mexico and Canada for assembly,
Gotta
and
be
send
logic
their
about shit,
foreign-made
man.
cars into the United States with no tax. So we let all our people go. We fire everybody. They make cars. They make products. They make everything
Midwest in the building.
in
y'all.
another country. They send them into the United States, no tax.
And I hope you are
And the
too.
cost is very little different. Sometimes it's more for those people that like to talk about cost. With this agreement, we are closing all of these terrible loopholes. They're closed. They're gone. They were a disaster. For example, we are requiring a large portion of every car to be made by high-wage workers, which will greatly reduce foreign outsourcing, which is
Yeah,
a
man, I was
tremendous
giving y'all a
problem.
little bit of some of what
And
Trump
means
had to
more
say.
auto parts and
Live,
automobiles will be
direct,
manufactured
from
inside
Midwest.
the United
I'll be
States.
back,
We will
channel
be
back
manufacturing
booming.
many more
You know what I'm
cars.
saying?
And
I will
our
be
companies
back.
won't be leaving.
I got a
the
lot of new
United
research,
States
a lot of new
firing
leads, a
their
lot of
workers
new information for
and
guys.
building their
You know, if they
cars
really want this process,
elsewhere.
you know,
There's no longer that incentive.
I got
Before,
the
under the
keys,
NAFTA deal, they had that
I
incentive.
got
They
the
had the opposite incentive. Now, we're not going to be losing our companies. That was,
Straight
to me,
up.
the most important thing. I don't want to see our companies
But it's all
leave
good.
and fire our workers, and our workers never get jobs to replace those jobs. Those days are over. This deal will
What people
also
fail to
impose
realize
new
is you
standards
gotta sit
requiring
back.
at least 75% of every
Your
automobile
name be out there. You got to
to be
sit back
made in
because
North
people
America
be
in order to
watching,
qualify
people
for the
be pouring
privilege
salt,
of free
so you got to
access
sit
to
back.
our markets. And that's what it is. It's a privilege.
Gotta
We don't
move
take
like
it
a
as a
ninja.
privilege. We don't take it as a privilege. It's a privilege for them to do business with us. And I'm not talking about Mexico. I'm talking about everybody. Everybody. It's a
So
privilege for
hit me
China.
up,
to
mbteammidwest
do
at
business with us.
gmail.com.
It's a privilege for the
Hit that
European
email up.
Union, who has treated us very badly, but that's coming
Tell all
along
your friends and family
to
members,
do
hit that
business with
email
us.
up.
Japan, every country, it's a
Come
privilege for
join the
them to come
university.
in and attack
Get an
the piggy
overstanding.
bank.
And if this for
In
you,
this, we will have a result of
then you already
much
know
more
what to do.
happening right here in the United States. It means more than anything else, far more American jobs, and these are high-quality jobs. There are also strong provisions to enforce what's called the rules of origin requirements. This will incentivize billions of dollars in new purchases of U.S.-made automobiles. Once approved, this will be a new dawn for the American auto industry and for the American auto worker. They will see. They understand.
loopholes, man. They
They
getting
voted
it
for us
together,
in
man.
large numbers.
Bringing
even though
jobs
their
back home.
Leadership
Wage,
always goes Democrat.
man, minimum wage
A couple
going
of them
up.
said to me, I don't know how I can do it again.
I mean, for those
Many
who,
of them,
you know, who want to work,
the
I'm more
leaders were
interested
back
in like
Democrats.
creating job
And would tell me,
opportunities for people,
you're going to get most
things
of
of
the
that
votes
nature. and
from
consulting
union
with
workers.
people about different
And we
things.
got
So
most of the
that would
votes
be.
from
I like
workers,
to be
period.
my own boss. So
But
that would be
the
the
American
business.
auto worker
You know, the road
was
I'll be
very
going.
much behind what
To
we were
create my
doing
own
as one
businesses and to
primary
create
aspect.
jobs for others.
It will transform North America back into a manufacturing powerhouse.
Yes, sir.
You remember the previous administration said, we're not going to have manufacturing jobs anymore, essentially. We're not going to make things anymore? No, just the opposite. Going to be a manufacturing powerhouse that allow us to reclaim a supply chain that has been offshored to the world because of unfair trade issues. We also provide brand new intellectual property protections for biologic drugs, which will make North America a haven for medical innovation and development. We want our drugs to be made here. When you talk prescription drugs, we don't like getting them from foreign countries. We don't know what's happening with those drugs, how they're being made. Too important. This landmark agreement will send cash and jobs pouring into the United States and into North America. Good for Canada, good for Mexico. Instead of jobs leaving for overseas, they will be returning back home, and we've already had it. We have many, many car companies. I was with Prime Minister Abe of Japan. He said, we have sent many car companies to the United States over the last year and a half. It's true, and big expansions. And very importantly, he said many more are coming because they have an incentive now to be here. People want to be back in the United States again. As I say, the United States is respected again, but it's also respected as to trade and industry. This is a truly extraordinary agreement for the United States, Canada, and Mexico. President Peña, it's so important that the president and I have developed this
I'll see. I'm holding
sort
this,
of a
but
bond,
yeah,
a bond
I'm
on
finna
trade.
check out. I was giving it a little live update to my viewers.
Has
You
done
know,
a very good job for
but
Mexico.
you can catch it live
in
on any
terms of
news,
trade.
on
And Prime
any
Minister
local
Trudeau,
news
who I just
broadcasting
spoke
or
to
any
both of
cable
them a little
news
while
station.
ago.
It's on. It's
Well,
on
they
live
love their
right now.
countries. They want to do right for
President
their
Trump
countries,
speaking.
and that's what they've done.
So y'all can go
And we've
there.
really formed,
It's
if you
just a
look at
little
this agreement,
warning,
we
you
formed
know,
great
a little
partnership
update to
with
give
Mexico
my viewers a
and with
view of
Canada.
what's going on if they want
And
to
I
be,
plan to
you know,
sign
if they're
the
interested
agreement by
in
the
listening
end
to
of
the president
November.
talk.
I
See
then will
what's
submit
going
it
on.
for approval
But once
to
again, man,
Congress,
Midwest
where
in the
in theory
building.
there should be no trouble,
And I
but
hope
anything
you are too.
submit to
Don't
Congress
miss
is
out.
trouble.
Midwest University.
No matter what.
Come
It's the
one,
single
come all.
greatest agreement ever signed. They'll say, well,
MBTeammidwest@gmail.com.
Trump likes
Hit
it,
your boy
therefore we're
up.
not going to approve it. Because that
It's
would
a
be good
fact.
for the Republicans, so
President
therefore
Trump.
we can't approve it.
Do your thing.
But it will be sent to Congress pursuant